And this man has several children. At the time, I believe it was
8.
8. When you met Jock, he had 8 kids. By 7, is this
4?
4. When you met Jock, you met a man who at that time, 8 kids by 4 different women. A lot of people feel like, why in the world would a woman of your accomplishments date somebody who they would consider to have a lot of baggage?
Atlanta drama is never simple when attorney Kendra chose to stand by rapper Young Jock. She knew his past was messy, but no one knew how messy 8 kids for baby mamas, secret girlfriends, and a baby that appeared during a break. Was this love or a lifetime trap? And did Kendra save Young Jock or lose herself in his chaos?
And when you learned on the show that he was having dealings with Carly Red while you two were dating, how did that make you feel?
Well, like I said, I don't know. Like, see, and that was the other thing that I was explaining to him so long ago. I'm like, before I got involved into the reality TV world, I'm like, I don't know the timelines of this stuff. I mean, if I see it, I don't know when it was shot or whatever, but the thing that I think the world gets confused and like people get confused is like I said, we took it slow. Like, I found out I was Jocelle girl.
Atlanta has always been the city of drama, but when the story turns to Young Jock, the drama becomes a lifestyle from the moment Young Jock stepped into the reality TV world. The cameras never stopped rolling on his messy relationships, his girlfriends, his baby mamas, and his children. For years, people have debated how a man like Young Jock could juggle rap, radio, reality TV, and still find time to be a father to so many kids. And when Kendra walked into his life, the world became even more curious. Before Kendra came along, Young Jock was already known as a rapper with hit songs, the man with funny hairstyles, and the cast member on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta who always had women around him. People knew Young Jock for his charisma, but they also knew him for his chaos. When fans counted his family tree, they realized Young Jock had 8 children from 4 different women. And that fact became a storyline of its own. It wasn't just gossip, it was a reality that followed Young Jock everywhere he went.
Your wife want to have a baby. Hey, if I ever end up wanting to have kids and you don't want to have kids, let me free, let me go, and let somebody who deserve me, who's gonna give me what the I need, give it to me. If you can't step up into the shoes of what a husband is supposed to be, then leave me and let me.
The girlfriends of Young Jock were not just names in the background. Women like Carly Red became central to his storyline. Their romance was dramatic, public, and always came with arguments that kept fans entertained. But behind every girlfriend was a larger shadow of the baby mama drama. Each woman had a piece of Young Jock, and together they formed the complicated puzzle that would later become the biggest test for Kendra. When Kendra entered the picture, she wasn't just another name, she wasn't a singer, she wasn't a cast member chasing clout. Kendra was a lawyer, a professional woman who had worked her way from a small town in South Carolina to the courtrooms of Atlanta. She was smart, independent, and focused. So when people saw Kendra standing next to Young Jock, the questions began. Why would a woman like Kendra, a woman with no kids, a woman with a law degree, a woman with her own income, choose to be with a man like Young Jock, a man with 8 kids and 4 baby mamas? The answer wasn't simple. Kendra said from the start that she never judged Young Jock for his past. She met him as a man, not as a storyline. Their first meeting wasn't on a red carpet. It wasn't on a set, it was at a gas station. Young Jock saw Kendra pumping gas and decided to approach her. At first, she didn't even realize it was Young Jock. She thought some random man was trying to get her attention, maybe even trying to distract her. But then she looked closer and saw it was really Young Jock, the rapper she had known since high school when his music played everywhere. That first meeting didn't lead to love overnight. Young Jock and Kendra didn't exchange numbers right away. They crossed paths again days later at a bank, and that's when fate stepped in. It was in that moment that Young Jock and Kendra began to connect, first on social media, then through messages, and finally through real conversations. But entering the world of Young Jock meant entering a world where girlfriends and baby mamas were always part of the conversation. When Kendra told her friends that she had met Young Jock, their first reaction wasn't excitement. They warned her. They reminded her that Young Jock had several kids. They reminded her that Young Jock was linked to Carly Red on the show. They told her that Young Jock was known for his messy love life. And yet, Kendra still decided to move forward. Still decided to see for herself who Young Jock really was. The beginning wasn't smooth. Kendra admitted that at first she wasn't sure if Young Jock was serious. They acted exclusive, but he never sat down and said, "You're my girlfriend." It took over a year before Young Jock finally introduced Kendra as his girlfriend publicly, and it happened in front of none other than music legend Teddy Riley. That moment made it official, but it also proved how slow their relationship had been. While Young Jock was figuring out what he wanted, Kendra was still navigating her own path. She had another man in her life briefly, and when Young Jock found out through her phone, he was devastated. The text, that "I love you" messages, it cut him deeply. Kendra admitted it was selfish on her part, that she didn't know she would end up loving Young Jock the way she did. They broke up for months after that discovery. Young Jock was hurt, and Kendra had to reflect on what she really wanted. But love pulled them back together. On her birthday, Young Jock showed up, ready to move past the hurt. That reunion became the first big test they overcame for Kendra. It was proof that Young Jock wasn't just another man passing through her life. He was serious, and he was willing to forgive and fight for their relationship. Yet even with love, the shadow of the children and the baby mamas never disappeared. Young Jock had 8 kids, and those kids weren't going anywhere. For Kendra, it meant stepping into the role of stepmother without ever having kids of her own. She admitted openly that she didn't feel the urge to have her own children because she was already helping to raise Young Jock's kids. She was present in their lives, and she loved them. She said she truly had good relationships with most of the mothers, as well, cordial, respectful, and sometimes even friendly. But there were also moments of tension, moments where boundaries had to be set, especially when one of the mothers acted out. This is where the strength of Kendra shows. She said clearly, "I don't deal with drama. That's for him to handle. I love the children, but I don't have to have a relationship with every mother. My respect is for the kids, not for the mess." That was her line, and she didn't cross it. For the public, the perception was different. People whispered that Kendra was being used. People said she was too successful, too accomplished to marry a man with so much baggage. They said she was trapped in a one-sided marriage, but Kendra fought those perceptions head-on. She told the truth. She was not paying the mortgage. She was not stuck in debt. Young Jock provided, and she chose to work because she loved her career. She made it clear that she was not a weak woman, and that's what makes the story of Young Jock and Kendra different from the typical love and hip-hop storyline. This isn't just about girlfriends and baby mamas. It's about a woman who knew her worth, a man who came with chaos and the choice to love each other in spite of what the world said, but the world wasn't done testing them. During one of their breaks, Young Jock fathered a child with another woman. The baby wasn't born while they were married, and it wasn't conceived while they were officially together. Still, the scandal followed Kendra everywhere. People said he had a baby on her, but the truth, according to Kendra, was that they weren't together at the time. The public didn't care about the details, though the narrative was already out there, and Kendra had to fight against it. This was only the beginning of the struggle between perception and reality. For Kendra, the battle wasn't just about being a wife, it was about protecting her own image, her career, and her dignity while standing beside Young Jock. And as much as she loved Young Jock, she made it clear that her boundaries were firm. She would not carry his burdens for him. If he made mistakes, he would take accountability. The first part of their story is filled with lessons: how a small-town girl became a lawyer, how fate brought her to Young Jock, how love survived betrayal, and how 8 kids and 4 baby mamas couldn't scare her away. But the real test, the ultimate challenge, was yet to come. Because when rumors, scandals, and new children entered the picture, Kendra had to decide once again if standing by Young Jock was worth it. The story of Young Jock and Kendra did not end with love and forgiveness. If anything, it only grew more complicated once the rumors spread about the baby that arrived during their break. for many people watching from the outside. The headline was simple: Young Jock had a baby on Kendra. But for Kendra, the truth was much more layered. She explained over and over again that when that child was conceived, she and Young Jock were not together, they were on a break. Still, the damage was done. The public didn't listen to timelines. They only believed the drama. The baby's scandal became one of the hardest tests in the relationship between Young Jock and Kendra. For Kendra, it wasn't just about forgiving Young Jock, it was about deciding if she could live with the reality of raising another child that wasn't hers. A child who was proof of a reckless choice made while they were apart. Kendra admitted she was angry. She admitted she was devastated. She admitted that in that moment she thought she was done, but in the end, she chose to move forward. Still, her choice didn't come without conditions. Kendra made it clear to Young Jock that she would not carry the burden of his mistakes. If he fathered a child during their break, he had to take full accountability. She told him directly, "I am not Jesus. I don't carry burdens that don't belong to me." For Kendra, this was about respect. If Young Jock wanted her in his life, he would handle the responsibility of that child, the responsibility of the mother, and the responsibility of making sure it didn't interfere with their marriage. For the outside world, though, the gossip didn't stop. Viewers of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta started painting Kendra as a victim, the woman who sacrificed her career and her dignity for a man who couldn't keep himself together. Blogs called her trapped. Critics said she was weak, and strangers claimed she was blinded by love. But in every interview, Kendra stood her ground. She said she was not trapped. She said she was not weak. She reminded people that she had her own money, her own career, her own properties. She didn't need Young Jock financially. She chose to be with him because she loved him, not because she had no options. What made the story even more complicated was the presence of the baby mamas Young Jock had for women in his past who were the mothers of his children. Some of them got along with Kendra, some of them stayed cordial, and one or two of them kept things tense. For Kendra, the choice was clear. She would love the children, but she didn't have to be best friends with every mother. She drew her boundaries early. If I have to deal with drama, I step back. That's for him to handle. This became another talking point for the fans. Some thought Kendra was smart for staying out of the drama. Others thought she was cold. But the reality was that Kendra did what worked for her. She wasn't going to let her image as a lawyer, her reputation in court, and her dignity as a woman be destroyed by public battles with baby mamas. Instead, she focused on what mattered most, the kids. And in the end, the kids loved her. And she loved them. That bond was stronger than any rumor. The children became the center of her new life. Kendra admitted she didn't feel the urge to have her own biological children because she was already mothering Young Jock's kids in her own way. She attended birthdays, holidays, and special moments. She played the role of stepmother without resentment. And that choice, once again, showed the strength of Kendra. But the world still didn't let her breathe. Every time Young Jock hosted a party, every time he appeared in a photo with another woman, every time he was spotted at a club, rumors would flood Kendra's inbox. Messages from strangers, DMs from fans, gossip blogs tagging her with proof of cheating. Most of the time, the rumors were false, but the constant noise was exhausting. Kendra shared that even as a professional woman, she could not escape the stress of having a husband in the spotlight. She worked in courtrooms and closings, but in the evenings she had to deal with whispers from the internet. She recalled one particular incident when someone sent her a message, claiming they saw Young Jock in an Uber with another woman. Instead of exploding, she simply forwarded the message to Young Jock. For her, it wasn't about accusing him, it was about saying, "This is what's being said, and you need to know how it affects me." But for Young Jock, even that felt like an attack. He went online, he made posts. He used his platform to defend himself. But in Kendra's eyes, he crossed a line. She told him, "Don't weaponize your platform against me. Don't gaslight me. That's not love, that's abuse." Moments like these show the cracks in their relationship, but they also show the honesty. Kendra was not afraid to call out Young Jock when he was wrong. She was not afraid to say what she needed. And for all the gossip about her being silent, the truth was that Kendra had a strong voice. She was outspoken in court, and she was outspoken at home. The hardest part for Kendra wasn't the rumors or the baby, it was the perception that she was suffering in silence. She hated when people said she was trapped, that she was only staying because of money, that she was ignoring the truth. For Kendra, the truth was that she stayed because she wanted to. She stayed because she loved Young Jock, because despite his flaws, he showed up for her when it mattered. She said, "I'm a strong black woman. My husband may not come in the package the world wants, but he's mine." That statement summed up everything. The world might never understand why a woman like Kendra, a lawyer with no kids, would choose a man like Young Jock, a rapper with 8 children and multiple baby mamas. But the truth was never about the world. It was about the bond between them. Even Kendra's family had their doubts. Her father asked hard questions. Her mother worried about the drama. But over time, they saw Young Jock show up. They saw him drive her to South Carolina, attend family events, stand by her side. And before her father passed away, he accepted Young Jock as family. That meant everything to Kendra. The journey wasn't easy. They had breakups, reconciliations, betrayals, and even counseling. But through it all, Kendra repeated the same message. If Young Jock wanted her in his life, he had to respect her, he had to be accountable, and he had to be faithful. And in her heart, she believed he was. She told the world that in her marriage, she believed Young Jock had been faithful. It was a bold statement, because not everyone believed it. The blogs didn't, the fans didn't, and sometimes even her own friends didn't. But Kendra stood firm. She wasn't living for the approval of strangers. She was living for herself, for her marriage, and for the love she believed in. The saga of Young Jock and Kendra is not just about baby mamas, not just about girlfriends, not just about children. It's about the tension between public perception and private truth. It's about a woman who refused to be broken by gossip, and a man who had to learn that love came with responsibility. It's about how the people built a life together while the world doubted them every step of the way. In the end, Kendra's message was simple. Don't take my kindness for weakness. Don't judge me for who I chose. I know who I am. I know what I bring, and I know why I'm here. If you're rooting for my marriage, thank you. If you're not, keep moving. Because what we have is real and what we have is ours. And with that, the story of Young Jock and Kendra continues not as a perfect love story, but as a real one. A love story with kids, with baby mamas, with mistakes, with forgiveness, and with a woman who chose to follow her heart even when the world told her not to.